With regards to making money, I do make a bit of money. There's been a couple of quiet weeks with winter here, but it's been a good turnover for what I would expect for a business. To be honest, it's actually been a lot more than I thought it would have been, and that's purely down to the brand, to be honest, because getting the leads through and not having to do all the work yourself to get the leads, that's just helped out massively. A typical day with me is starting at 8, finishing it whenever you want, really. Could be finished by midday some days, could be finished by 4 o'clock another day. It's whatever you want to take on board for the jobs. If you want to have a quieter day, you can choose a quieter day. Before I started with Jim's Mowing, I was working for the Department of Corrections. I've been working for them for the last 9 years, teaching horticulture and how to maintain the grounds. Pretty hard on the family life. Sometimes I bring the stress of work back into the family, so decided to actually try and change things up and have a bit of a lifestyle change with starting my own business. During our decision of when to set up the business and whether to go with Jim's or another franchise, or to go independent, we decided in the long run that it would be better off going with a franchise, and Jim's was the one that we decided to go with, purely because they've got the extra backing, get the leads, they've got the advertising, the names out there. So it was to actually start up a business on our own would have been so much harder to do. Yeah, having the Jim's brand name out there is so much easier to get work. Everybody knows the actual franchise, whether it be from seeing them on TV in Australia or whether they've seen them around in New Zealand. All the advertising and head office dealing with all the leads and everything coming through that way, it was a no-brainer really. When buying the franchise, I think it's a fair price for the jobs. It's a fairly cheap setup to do the mowing. The territory is fairly cheap, and actually buying the machinery and everything it's quite a cheap way of setting up a business. And going on from there, the fees, they're reasonable compared to everybody else. I've spoken to a few other franchises from other companies, and that they actually pay more. So with Daryl, it's been nice and easy. Any issues that I've had from the start, he's been very approachable. Obviously, with never being in a business before, it's been a huge learning curve for me, and it's just smoothed it out over the first 6 months or so. My biggest concern when I started the business is that I was going to be starting just before winter. And with winter, obviously, the work kind of drops off a little bit. But to be honest, I've been pretty busy the whole way through. And now we're nearly into spring. So I've had pretty good run of jobs and never really been shy of any work. So it's been good. So with the lead distribution with Jim's, you can choose the areas that you want to work in. So you can choose all areas, all the job specifications. Or you can narrow it down to certain areas that you wanted to work in or certain jobs you wanted to work in. If you wanted to book in a day off, you could have no leads come through that day. If you wanted to have as many leads as you wanted, you can increase to however many you want. You can choose to have 1 or 2. So the options are there for what you want to do on those certain days. With regards to the head office, they're really easy to speak to. I've even spoken to Jim a couple of times myself over the last couple of months. So if you ever have anything that you feel you want to go higher up, you can do. It's no issue. Everybody's willing to speak to each other and help each other out. If you're looking at starting up a mowing business, I'd choose Jim's Mowing. Just for having all those leads, there's all the work you could want out there. The brand itself sells to the public. So yeah, if you're wanting the work, go with Jim's.